Common belief number 1, I'm unworthy of love due to past experiences or a negative self-perception. So I feel like I'm unworthy of love. That can be a common belief. I'm just not lovable. I used to believe that. I don't anymore. Another belief can be, I always attract the wrong person. You know, this is a sense that I'm just drawn to these people. I'm attractive to people who are just not good for me and not suitable for me. By the way, you are, and your brain is against you. And I teach this to my members about how your brain will hijack you to choose people who are not good for you. And your brain is really finely tuned to do that unless you start working on changing it. Maybe you have a core belief that says, you know, I'm not good enough, Debbi. I'm not enough. You know, I feel inadequate in some way. I believe that I lack certain qualities in my life. You know, and I think that other people can kind of fill that up for me. Maybe you have a core belief that love hurts. You know, I had that belief. I believed that because people who supposedly loved me hurt me a lot. And so I equated them as being the same thing. Love equals hurt. So you've got to expect to be hurt in relationships, right? Of course you should, because love hurts. No, love does not have to hurt. In fact, it shouldn't hurt or disappoint, you know. But based on our past experiences, we can start to think and believe that. I can't trust anyone. This is a really deeply held belief by so many people, especially when somebody has trusted you. Somebody has not... somebody who you have trusted has let you down. Here's the thing. Do you trust yourself? Because a lot of you don't. You don't trust yourself. One of the workshops I do in my membership is on trust. I'm actually doing trust next month with my members. And the workshop is around, you know, how do I trust myself? Forget about all those people out there. How am I behaving in ways that are demonstrating a trust in myself? Because that's important. And if people are untrustworthy, that's not a reflection of us, that's a reflection of them. Some of you believe this to your core. I need somebody to complete me. You bought into a story that says you will always feel empty unless there is somebody else there. You need a relationship to make you feel whole, good enough, happy, to fill up an emotional void. Maybe you have had multiple relationships end and you've decided that relationships just always end in failure. You know, maybe that's a belief you've had because all of your relationships have ended in failure. You know, long-lasting relationships are possible. But if you believe that to your core, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe all relationships end in failure, then all of your relationships will end in failure. Some of you who have patterns that go back to your childhood, you know, believing that you're doomed to just keep repeating them. You don't understand, Debbi. I had a really tough time growing up. You don't understand. This comes from really early on in my life. Yes, I do understand. Of course I do. I have a history like that myself. We can learn to do things differently. We can learn to change patterns. We can learn to do that. I've learned to do that. I teach that every day. Of course you can learn to do it different. What about this one? I'm really scared of intimacy. Like I have just, no, you know, forget it. It's too scary. Opening up and letting somebody else in is just too frightening for me. I don't want to do it. Or you tell yourself, you know, I'm just not worth the commitment. This is a really sad one for me. And women do it all the time. You know, women who get on dating apps and men are just wanting sex. And, you know, I've had women say to me, I'm like, don't have sex on your first date. I have, you know, in my membership when I teach women this, you know, we have a 6-date rule. And I teach that because, and it's important, introducing intimacy too early on is really not a good idea. And women will say, oh yeah, but Debbi, if I don't have sex with them, they won't have a second date. Oh my God, you're going to have sex with someone so that they'll have a second date? That tells you who that person is. They are depending on you having sex with them so that they'll have a second date. They're a no for you. They're like, fuck off, get stuffed. You know, but we tell ourselves, well, I'm not worthy of the commitment. Well, if you're choosing friends with benefits, if you're choosing one-night stands, not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way. If that's what you want, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want a lasting, loving, connected relationship, you know, you're going to have to ask for it. You're going to have to stand there and go, fucking no. This is a gift. I don't just give this to anybody. This is a gift. And if you want it, you're going to have to freaking earn it. And that's important. And men in our culture need that more than ever. They're so freaking lost. More than ever. We need to reframe these old stories. We need to look at these things in completely new ways. And I'm going to give you some counter arguments to what I just shared with you. You know, age brings wisdom. It brings experience. It brings a deeper understanding of what we want in life and what we want in love. So age is so good for those who are saying it's too late. No, it's not. Age brings stuff that you just can't begin. I'll be 60 this year. Honestly, I'm looking forward to my 60th birthday because every year I just think, shit, this is a good year. This is a really good year because I see the wisdom that's growing inside of me and I love it. You know, I want you to challenge, you know, my past relationships have shaped who I am, but they don't define me. Every single experience I have is a valuable lesson. I want you to start thinking, you know, I'm adaptable. I'm open to growth. Because we all are open to growth, all of us. Our brains are designed for it. Here's one, and I want you to write it down and repeat it to yourself every single day. Rejection is not a reflection of my worth, but it's a redirection towards someone or something that is better suited to me. I'm going to read it again if you didn't catch it. Rejection is not a reflection of my worth, but a redirection towards someone who is better suited to me. That's important. Next, love has no expiration date. I have women in my membership who are over 70 years old who are dating. You know, love has no expiration date. You can love till the day you die. You know, love has no expiration date. I am ready and I deserve a fulfilling, rich and meaningful life at any stage of my life. Or this one, my value is not determined by being in a relationship. Or this, everybody's journey is unique and I trust that my path is unfolding perfectly for me. Even the shitty paths, they're sometimes the best paths in hindsight. You know, I remember being in a car accident and it was quite distressing. Somebody hit me in it with a truck and crushed my car. And I just thought, oh my God, it terrified me. It changed my life in really positive ways. I didn't think so at the time. I didn't know it was going to do that at the time, but it sure did. Okay, what about this? While past experiences can be challenging, I'm capable of rebuilding trust. I'm capable of rebuilding my life. I'm capable of building a life that I love. Past experiences can be challenging and we can be capable. Or this one, my self-worth is not contingent on being in a relationship. I'm valuable and I'm complete as a human being on my own. Or finally, I learn from past experiences and I create new patterns, new ways in the way I think, feel and behave. You can do this.